the second
Morning,
quarter.
Max. Morning, Jay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know,
Country Club Key.
It's cool.
That was your country club voice. That wasn't your real voice. Come
Oh,
on.
I thought you were talking about what I sent you on the text yesterday about the menu that they were serving at a country club. It wasn't my country club, but it was a country club.
What were they serving?
But you did not.
Max probably was asleep.
Yeah, I wanted to react to it, but I got angry.
You got
it's on the show text.
No, well, we'll talk about it.
we'll
Let's
talk
not
about
get
that
derailed,
later.
and you'll trip off what I did. You'll trip off what I did, and you know I did it too.
You
but
call
anyway,
for the owner?
Don't you just? We'll get there. So yeah, Max, the game. Did you watch the second half?
When you
No.
when you guys send on those text chains, it's always 60 new messages every time I look at it, and I can't even pick up the thread. I got to scroll back so far.
You just got to pick one message and just hone in on that.
But there was a time in the second quarter.
Yeah,
last
stay on
night.
one of them.
There was a time in the second quarter. Duggan had the ball. They were like at midfield. They were driving, putting a little drive together. I want to say it was 17-7, and I was thinking, wait a minute, they scored. Because you're rooting for a game. They score here.
Absolutely.
They score here, and it's a one-score game, and it looked pretty good for them. And
you know what was so trippy?
Turned it over. That was a wrap.
I was sitting there with Vance, my son, and we were watching it, and Georgia, boom, they hit 7-0, kick the field goal, go up 10-0. All of a sudden, the secondary, they blow a coverage for Georgia over the top, down to the 10. They punch it in. It's 10-7. I told my son, he goes, I think TCU got a shot. I said, Vance, that's how I talked to him, too. I looked at him, I said, Vance, let me tell you something. In the 80s, when I was a kid, I used to watch Nebraska play teams like Missouri. It'd be like 7-10 Missouri. I'm like, oh, yeah, they got a shot. They go away, come back. 65-7 Nebraska. I told him, I said, this is what's getting ready to happen to Georgia and TCU. TCU deserved to be there, no question about it. They took care of business against Michigan, who took care of business against Ohio State. Georgia beat Ohio State. So you look at it, they deserve to be there. But they didn't have it. It was just not gonna happen.
Even the matchup they thought they had, right? The matchup they thought they had, maybe they could go over. They didn't have anything. And then they blew the coverage on the next series. They get a gift and they give it right back. And at that point, it's a wrap.
Well, if you see, all the pregame interview with Kirby, considering that they gave up 41 points against Ohio State, where he was like, what's the tone of aggression? Like that's all he kept saying. So when you saw the first half, and then you saw even when some of the starters were out in the second half, you're like, well, damn. Man, it made me start to think about, well, what about next year? They lost 15 from last year. They right here again. And then what's going to be next year?
Them young dogs, you could just tell they were bigger, faster, coached differently. I mean, you could just look at them and they just look different. They look like a different team. And I was saying to myself, I was like, ooh, I'm glad SC didn't go.
Yeah.
I was saying, ooh, they would have ate us up if we'd have played them.
It's worse to get there and get mollywopped than it is to not get there at all. To me, like,
see, I'd rather get there.
I'd rather get there. No, I'd rather get there.
I'd rather get there, Max.
As athletes,
first year head coach.
No, as athletes, I understand. I'm thinking about Giants, the one Super Bowl they lost to the Ravens. I remember after that, they just got stomped. And I remember afterwards thinking, man, I just wish they wouldn't have even gotten there. It wasn't worth it.
Yeah,
man.
But see, you're thinking like a fan, man.
Yeah, but most of the people listening to us right now are fans.
You're a head coach. That's on my resume. First year I made it to a national championship game as a player.
I need to talk to
a chip.
No doubt.
Hey, Jay, I need to go talk to the athletic director tomorrow.
I need to figure out
we got to figure out how to continue to do this in a positive manner.
Kia,
the only way we can do this is my staff needs to be compensated a certain way, and I need to be compensated a certain way, or else, that A&M job might look good to me next year.
Q, how much? I wonder what that enrollment went up. What percentage did that enrollment go up for TCU? TCU branded everywhere. Yeah, what's that worth?
It goes. As you know, Jay, it does go up.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, I remember when SC was down, and obviously Alabama was rolling, and Clemson was rolling, and SC's application as enrollments was down, and many kids from the West Coast was going to schools in the South because what they see, like you say, Jay, is all the branding. Yep. Alabama everywhere, Clemson everywhere. I mean, they came in and infiltrated California in terms of getting students. Not even athletes, just normal students.
So, so Stetson Bennett last night, guys. 4 touchdown passes.
College version of Joe Burrow. Just out there smoking cigars.
By the way, outrunning defenders. 4 touchdown passes. Ran for 2. TCU, the final score was 65. As Key was saying, Key, it sounded like you were trying to make up a score from the old days, right? But it really was 65 to 7.
If you think about it and you go look at some of those box scores from the old days and you look at some of them teams like
Nebraska,
like
you got
Nebraska,
it. Yeah.
And you look up, I'm telling you, it'd be 7-0 heading into halftime. Missouri's up. At the end of the game, it's 65-7.
Well, it was in the second quarter, halfway through the second quarter. TCU had the ball. They were driving down the field. They were about midfield, and it was, I want to say, 17-7. It wound up 65-7, the 58-point margin of victory, the largest ever in a bowl game. And the 65 points is the most scored in the BCS college football title game. So here's the question now, guys. Is Georgia the gold standard in college football? Just keep in mind, when Dabo was neck and neck for about 4 or 5 years with Saban, and Clemson looked like a rising power, but it was still, they hadn't overtaken him yet, and it was still basically the same system in place. Then things changed. NIL, portal, and now it's like, what's the new world going to look like, right?
Yeah, no, I think Georgia is they're going. It's a little. It changes a little bit because you got this power. You got this 12-team playoff thing coming here soon. So I think it'll change a little bit. But Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, those teams, Texas, they gonna still be the gold standard, man. USC, they gonna still be the gold standard. What they've got to do now is catch up with Georgia in terms of playing for national championships. Because Georgia, since Kirby Smart's been there, what is this, 3 now? He's played in 3, 1 back-to-back.
Yep.
So, guy's only been coaching there for, I think, 5-6 years now.
Right, and in the BCS college football playoff situation, since NIL especially and portal, David Pollack, who is famously a Georgia alum and now ESPN college football analyst, was at halftime.
It's 38-7 at halftime.
In front of Nick Saban. Listen to what he said about college football in Georgia.
Georgia, obviously, you've seen in the past couple seasons now, really, they've taken hold of college football. They've done an unbelievable job. This is a young football team. This isn't an old football team with a bunch of guys losing. Now, listen, the NFL can take its chunk out of any team, but it's just an unbelievable job of them 2 years in a row now putting the special seasons together.
Key, this is why I love the internet.
So we only got the internet. Voice. We didn't get the look.
Yeah, well, the internet is undefeated, so you can see it all over the internet. Because last night it started trending. The look on Nick Saban's face was like of sheer fury. It was like it was just like this looking around, like, am I really hearing those words?
Look, was David Pollack lying?
No, it wasn't. No lies, but
so Nick Saban got to understand, that look.
But see, I'm not about to. Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm not about to act as though that Alabama Crimson Tide is not going to finish in the top 5 teams in college football. So it ain't like they went from 1 to 30.
But they had a stranglehold for so long.
Yeah, but did they had a stranglehold, but they did go back and forward, with Clemson.
Yep.
LSU won 1 there. So it's not like they just won 9 in a row.
That's what I'm saying.
If they get
this wasn't UCLA basketball from the 60s.
Yeah, even if they're if Alabama's in the championship game and lose a tough one next year, right? It's kind of right back to where it is. But as of right now, Georgia's the betting favorite, plus 375 to win next season's college football playoff.
Bama's next.
Alabama's next, 550 plus 550. Ohio State plus 650 next in line. So it's the same 3 favorites that entered last season. Here's the question.
How are they going to have Ohio State plus 650 and C.J. Stroud is probably going to the pros?
Well, here's the question about Georgia. What constitutes a dynasty in college football? They've now gone back-to-back. It's first time in the CFP playoff format, right? Like in this playoff format. They went back-to-back. Is this a dynasty yet? Is it on its way to being a dynasty?
Back to back is a dynasty.
I need to find out
in college football.
Yeah.
So he's gone to 3 championships in 5 years, or has it been 6?
I don't know what the exact number is, but I mean, 3 championship appearances, back-to-back championships. That's a dynasty, man.
Yeah,
That's a dynasty.
I'm just trying to.
Miami Hurricanes type stuff.
I'm just trying to see how many. I'm trying to calculate in my head how many